Hey guys, this is Nick with PhoneArena, and Xiaomi is one of the many exotic Chinese smartphone brands. Its phones are not meant to be sold in Europe or in the US, but it could be very tempting to try to import one. Why is that? Well, here I have the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3. In China, this phone costs well below $200, even though you wouldn't be able to tell looking only at its design or at its specs. It has a Snapdragon 650, a 5.5-inch 1080p display, a huge 4000 mAh battery, all that good stuff. And for the price, this is a very good looking handset. It feels okay in the hand thanks to its shape, despite being a bit bulky and heavy. Using it with one hand could be a challenge, but there's this single-handed mode conveniently built into the software. All the buttons on the side are nicely made, and the fingerprint scanner at the back is actually fast, reliable and comfortable to use. So far, so good. The display on the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 is also impressive, especially for the price. The best things about it are that it is big and with high resolution, so there's plenty of detail in graphics. And it is bright enough to be usable outdoors, while at night a special display mode can be activated to filter out blue light, which makes things easy on the eyes. Its only flaw is that color reproduction is not accurate, especially if you look at the whites, which appear more like a light shade of blue. But knowing what this phone costs, that is something I can live with. And now comes the software part, which was the most frustrating thing about the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 while I was using it. This here is the MIUI 7 interface, which is based on Android 5.1 but has little to do with it. For instance, there is no app drawer. Instead, all the apps appear on the home screen. There's also a whole bunch of extra features integrated, including a phone call recorder and a cloud service by Xiaomi for backing up data. It is also nice that the software lets me lock applications into memory so that they're never reset. I also appreciate the support for user interface themes. But overall, using MIUI 7 day to day was a pain. For instance, it took me a long time to figure out how to make the software display my notifications on the lock screen. It doesn't do that by default for some reason. Also, Spotify didn't work while the phone was in standby, unless I manually turned the screen on every once in a while. And the gallery application had troubles sharing photos on Facebook or Twitter. Also, the MIUI web browser that comes preloaded was glitchy and closed tabs on its own. These are just some of the many issues I encountered, but I cannot fit them all in a reasonably long video. Despite all this, the phone's overall performance is great. The interface is fluid and responsive, and switching between applications is usually quick. The phone is also great for playing games, especially with that spacious screen. If you don't mind the less than ideal frame rate, even heavy games are playable. I must point out that the unit that I have here has a Snapdragon 650, 3GB of RAM and a generous 32GB of storage. But models of the phone with less RAM, less storage and a slower CPU can also be found at a lower price. Sadly, the 16-megapixel camera on the Redmi Note 3 is a bit disappointing. In daytime, it does get the job done, and it can even take a good-looking photo if you give it enough light. But the camera struggles with dynamics range, so highlights are usually overblown. Details aren't great either despite the 16-megapixel resolution of the sensor. In low light, colors appear lifeless, and my photos often came out blurry unless my hands were perfectly still. The 5-megapixel front-facing camera is also usable, but do not expect great photos out of it either. If you'll be shooting video, try to do so in good light conditions to get a nice shot. In low light, there's a lot of motion blur in videos, so these don't look nice. Battery life on the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 is actually very good, especially for the price of the phone. This is to be expected, since the phone has a really big 4000 mAh battery. If you are a heavy user, this should get you through the day. And if you don't push the phone too much, it should last you a couple of days before needing a recharge. So at the end of the day, the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 is a great deal. If you live in China or in India, where the phone is on sale for the equivalent of about $150 to $180. If you're based in Europe or in the US and you want to import one, then you might want to think twice about it. First of all, you may have to pay import taxes and fees, you may have to wait a long time until your unit arrives, and the reseller that is willing to sell you one might want to charge you extra, at least more than what the unit costs in its homeland of China. And chances are you won't be getting any warranty or service, and speaking of which, there's already dust building up inside the camera of our demo unit, and it's been only used for like 2 weeks. And I know that earlier I said that the phone is actually pretty fast, probably thanks to its good processor. The software experience is just not good enough. If you want a phone that just works, this isn't it. But if you want to get a Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 anyway for its great value, then do so, but at your own risk. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to never miss a video.